Good morning, this is Brent with Lykins Motorsports, and this is good old JJ Jr., as he's been named. So this is our, I still can't remember if it's I think it's a 2000 Ford Explorer 5.0. So the goal for today, so if you're new to the channel, every year or so I do a dyno mule, just so I can test cams and test heads and that sort of thing. That helps me choose more accurate camshafts for you guys, and I really appreciate the business that I've gotten this year. I'm selling a ton of cams, and that has worked out well for me. So I crave more data so that I can make better decisions. And if you would see the cams that I would choose today versus the cams that I would choose 5 years ago, or maybe even several years ago, they are different, and that's because I do more testing and put engines on the dyno and compare cams and this sort of thing. So, you know, if you were to go and buy a custom hydraulic roller for a Ford FE, runs $550. You know, if you're going to pay that, then you should get, you know, the best bang for your buck. And, you know, I did two 445s FEs several years ago, kept the intake duration at 50 thousandths the same, kept the advertised duration on the intake the same, the lift was the same, but I just varied the exhaust split from 4 degrees to 8 degrees and gained I think about 15 horsepower. So, you know, if you're gonna pay for a cam, you know, I want you to get the best bang for your buck. So that's one of the things that we have on the docket for this guy. We're going to do some cam work, and I found a new E303 cam on eBay this morning that had been taken out of a new Ford crate engine for cheap money. So I'm going to snag that guy, and a few iterations down the road we'll jam that in here, and then I'll have one ground to my own specs, and we'll see what the differences are. And that'll help the guys who are putting together, you know, 302s and small cubic inch small block Fords with the GT40P or the GT40 heads, or maybe even some of the E7 heads. So that's the goal. So the goal for today is to get all this fuel injected crud off the top of my engine, so it has no business being there. I'm gonna set up the tripod and maybe do some time-lapse stuff so you can see it, but we'll get all this stripped down. I may even get the intake manifold off so that we can see what the top end looks like. If you checked in from yesterday's video, you'll know that oil filter looked really good. The oil was very clean. The exhaust ports look very good. Has compression, so I have no reason to believe that this thing won't run very smoothly. So let's get started. So I snagged the spark plugs out of it. These are Autolite AP764s. These look really good, if I can get the camera to focus. Not sooted up, not oil fouled. Everything looks really good. Same deal. I mean, all of these look exactly the same. Good, clean engine burn. Don't know what's up with that guy there. It's like a spark plug issue. But yeah, more testament that this is going to be a good core for us to mess with. So we're going to probably work on getting this throttle body unit off first. I guess these were still mechanically controlled. There's the throttle body linkage. Just want to look at this sweet girl over here. That is the 465 tunnel port. We need another valve cover breather. They sent us the wrong height. You can see that one is shorter than the one on the right. And then I've got some vacuum hose coming, and that thing is ready to fire up. Let's see. So let's get this throttle body off and some of this other plumbing junk that's on here. Longest bolts ever. Uh-oh, dead battery. Okay, so we're making some progress. I got this fuel, or not fuel, but some kind of a water manifold deal off of it. So we're freeing up some room. Looking more like an engine should. So I'm gonna leave the injector rails on. This upper plenum has to come off. And if I remember correctly, I've got this one, and I think there's some under this nameplate. So we'll get those popped off. Oh no. It's not good. Okay, so under this plate there are two bolts that hold this upper down to the lower. The torque screws that hold the plate on were stripped out. I was able to get one out, then I just broke it. It's some kind of it was either a thick plastic or some kind of a pot. I think it's some kind of pot, aluminum or something like that. But it broke pretty easily. So it'll allow us to get this upper off. My battery died on my zip gun, so having to do it the old-fashioned way. I have not been into one of these in years and years and years. The longest bolts I've ever seen. Then we'll move the camera down. Got this guy. And this one back here. My biggest fear was that this thing was going to be full of water or just jacked up in some way, but it's not bad looking at all. I don't know if that's... I don't know what that is, but it's not... doesn't look too bad. So we can get this fuel rail out. And then we'll get our crank sensor, whatever this thing is called, out, and then we'll pull the intake manifold. Ain't that cool? Geared, looks really good. Pretty cool little rig there. I don't know if I'll ever need that, but I'm gonna hang on to it. Then we should be able to just loosen the bolts and get our intake manifold off. I'm gonna shove a rag down in that distributor hole so I don't drop a nut or a bolt down in there and then hate myself. Oh, mommy. Okay. That was way tighter than it should have been. So was that one. Got a ground strap on this one. The stud. Get the nut off. You gotta level when you pull the bolts out. and a bunch of dirt comes out with it. Wow. I was expecting a fight, but there was none. So, a little bit of dirt, wood from the pallet. Otherwise, I don't think we're in too bad shape here. Everything looks super clean, doesn't it? It's kind of coked up a little bit. Look in there. Wonder how that got in there. Come on, sweetheart. There you go. Let's see. I can get some lacquer thinner on a rag and kind of get some of this, whatever this dirt is. And I don't remember seeing these things. I don't know if that's a later model deal. Still got your spider, your hold down tray. These are covering the dog bones, so I can't really see those. But my game plan is to put a good set of link bar lifters in here, which will require some different push rods. But I want to be set up for later, and I don't want to buy more than a couple sets of lifters. I don't know. Let me think about that. I do know that we'll have to change the valve springs. So we'll be measuring, take some preliminary measurements for valve springs after a while. All right, so do a little cleaning and then I'll come back to you. All right, I was doing good until I broke the head off that bolt. It was in there and you're good. It didn't take much to snap it off. So I wanted to save this moment for on camera. I don't know what that is, but we'll find out here in a second. No clue. Everything looks very clean. Drains are clean. It's kind of a booger. Let's try the other one. Come on, baby girl. I will never get that thing out. It broke off right at the, you piece of junk. GT40Ps. Let me get I've got the plugs out of it, so let me grab a ratchet, socket, and we'll turn this over. Here we go. Very, very smooth. Everything looks really good in here. I'm gonna get my scraper out. Scrape off this intake manifold junk, and then get my shop vac out and clean up all the mess. Then I'll come back to you. All right, well, we'll give this a ta-da. I think we're in pretty good shape so far. Going to, I think what I'll do now, I have intent of changing valve springs so that whatever cam we decide to throw in here, that will be adequate, have adequate spring loads for it. So I can probably, let me think about this. Just go ahead and pull the rocker arms off and the push rods so I can get a good valve spring measurement. It appears that they do not sit on a locator, they sit on the head. And there's underneath the retainer. Looks like they've got some kind of a rotator or something on there. But I should be able to get a good, accurate spring height. By the way, put in the comments below if you guys know how, if I can get these out without pulling the heads or not. I've just never seen that kind of a deal before. I can't even see down in under the hold down to see if there's dog bones or not. I'm assuming these are what keep the lifters from rotating. But I guess if the push rods are out and this is out, then those should come out, I would imagine. Go ahead and get these rocker arms out of the way. This engine is very clean at top. Not like any of the past dyno mules that I've had that started with a core. They've all been pretty much jacked up and top end full of sludge. Curiosity got the best of me. I dropped some trash down behind these, so I wanted to get them out anyway. But it allows me to see how everything's made. Alright, more shop vac work. Again, more evidence that I got a really nice core. Look how nice the lifters look. Not scored or burn up. Bearings feel good. But these engines are known for going hundreds of thousands of miles. Good stuff. Alright, let's see if we can get a measurement for our valve springs. Okay, so we're just going to use the depth gauge part of my calipers and just get an eyeball on what's underneath that retainer. I'm getting 1/840. So now I can be looking for some valve springs that will match the E303 cam and a future cam. I gotta get my brain wrapped around on how I'm going to get a spring compressor on these puppies. There's one thing that I've didn't realize or forgot. The intake spring is different than the exhaust spring. So the exhaust spring looks like it's got this big, like a two-piece retainer. So intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. I don't mess with factory stuff very much, but never too late to learn, right? I'm gonna get this big hootis off here. Don't need it. It'll get in the way on the dyno. So I think this is a through bolt, and then I'll probably need to buy a nipple to screw in to accept a regular oil filter. This is too big for my Wix stuff that I like to use. It uses the old little short oil filters. I like more filtering capability than that. So we'll get this guy off here. Kind of wonder what kind of messes this is gonna make. Yay, no mess. So I'll get you in here. That's what that looks like. We'll get a socket, get that adapter off, and we can get a nipple for a regular oil filter. Got that off, we're ready to go forward to the next step, but I think I'm gonna call it a day at this point. Gonna go in and do some research on which parts that I want to use. Gonna need a good intake manifold that will not be counterproductive. So I'm thinking maybe a Performer RPM or an RPM air gap or something like that that'll allow the engine to make as much horsepower as it wants without being a hindrance. We're gonna need some valve springs. We're gonna need a way of changing valve springs. Haven't thought about that yet. So I don't have all the valve spring compressors that I have screw into or screw onto either or fit onto a shaft or screw onto like a 7/16 rocker arm stud. So I'll do some research, but we'll put those lifter trays or holders or guides or whatever back in and go do some parts searching. Thank you guys very much for hanging in with me on this one. I think this is going to be a good series of videos and a lot of data to be gained. Got a bunch of junk parts to throw away. Got a Dart 8.2 4125 deck for Mr. Kyle's 363 coming up. So if you have not subscribed yet, you best want to do that so that you don't miss out on all this stuff. Hope you guys are having a good weekend, and I will see you soon.